In the previous section, we talked about garbage collection in more detail. This is the first video in a series of videos constructing and using arrays. In this video, we'll look at how to declare a primitive array, how to create an array of a specified size, and how to populate it with data. Are you ready? So let's get started. An array declaration starts by declaring its data type. Here is the declaration of an array of integers. Notice the similarity with the way we declare variables. The data type is specified, followed by the variable name. But notice the square brackets after the data type. This is how we indicate that the variable is an array. Once the array data type has been declared, the array itself must be created and a maximum storage size specified. In this code snippet, an array of type integer has been created and is referred to with a variable called scores. The array size has been specified as 4, which means the array can store up to 4 integers. This number is always referred to as the array's length. Now bear in mind that the array is not actually a primitive itself. It only contains primitive values. An array variable is actually a reference variable that points to the memory address of the array, just like an object reference points to the memory address of an object. You can visualize an array like a table, with 2 rows and as many columns as the length of the array. The first row contains the index number of the element in the array, and the second row is the element itself. So what is an array index and what are its elements? You can think of an element just as another way to say storage space. Each element stores one piece of data of the type specified in the array declaration. So an integer array of length 4 will have 4 elements, and in each element you can store one integer value. The index of an element is a way to point to a specific element within the array. So an index array of 2 points to the data stored at index 2. You will notice that the first element is 0. But why is the first element 0 and not 1? This is because Java uses the array index convention called zero-based. This means that all the array indexes in Java start at 0 and not at 1. This can get pretty confusing sometimes, especially as the length of the array is not the same as the last index position. So an array with a length of 4 has a last element index 3, not 4. Be aware, this can easily trip you up if you're not careful. When the array is created, each element in the array is initialized with the default value for the array's data type. Here is a reminder of those types. So the integer array you saw earlier will be pre-populated with a default value of 0. Once you have created an array, you will want to start putting data in its element. We do this by specifying the index number of the element into which we want to put data between square brackets following the array variable name. In this code snippet, we are storing the value 200 in the element number 2. If we represent this visually, the array will look something like this. Note how the other elements in the array are all 0. This is the default value for an integer, and each element in the array is initialized with the default value for that data type. Data stored in an array must be of the same type. An array of integers can only store integers, and likewise an array of strings can only store strings. In the text you'll find a discussion on alternative ways to declare, create, and initialize arrays, examples of how to create anonymous arrays, a few paragraphs on object arrays and references, and how to cast primitive and object arrays.